Welcome to Mental Attire, the Meaning series. In today's episode, we are going to talk about turn off the noise. I am Amy.
I'm Cleopatra.
And I'm Caitlin.
So today, turn off the noise. The nation and the world's quite shook up. We could probably even take just a moment of silence for two reasons for what happened yesterday, and also today is 9/11. We would encourage everyone throughout your days, no matter what day of the year it is, to just turn off the noise and have a moment of silence every single day. So we'll just take a moment of silence right now. Well, ladies, what are some thoughts? Mine is turn off the technology, turn off the music, turn off, all the discussions, the posting, I firmly believe we do need to be informed, especially at a time right now. We need to be wise with our choices. Yet, turning off the noise and, Mother Teresa, if you want to, for more peace in the world, go home and love your families. Not making anything more important than that right now. And any day of the year. Keeping our priorities straight. So, we have the quiet time on our Mental Attire series here. Caitlin created a video with a reflection sheet, start with even 2 minutes, and you can go watch that video, and she'll put the link in this. To just slow down, live slow, priorities. I would say watch what you're putting in front of your mental and physical health, your relationship with God, and your family. Those three things, God, mental and physical health, and your family. Just be truthful, for all we truly have is right now. So I don't know if you ladies have anything you want to.
Well, we think of like the noise, and right now, like I literally, before we decided on the topic, Brad and I were texting back and forth, and it's like, I don't even want to go on social media right now because it is just, it's depressing. You hear a lot of different opinions and the constant notifications, and just you see a lot, and it does a lot to your mind. It fills you with anxiety, and sometimes it makes us just so distracted. And so it was just a moment of like, okay, I need to pause. I need to set things down, and really like rein myself back into God and to prayer, and to, like you said, loving my family where I'm at. If anything, this has caused me to wake up, be grateful for, who God has placed in my life, and to steward well what God has given me. Because I was thinking last night, I get to hold my husband's hand and kiss him goodnight. She doesn't. And so it is hard. And you think about that, I have no clue who she is. But just to turn that noise off, I think would be important at this point, and to pray.
Because you're honoring God, and you're honoring them.
Yeah.
By doing that. That is something we have to look at. What are we capable of right here, right now? And that is something we can do. Mm-hmm. And going to social media, doing no, get off of it. Just get off of it. And if you don't have somebody close to you, reach out to us, or reach out to someone, or first and foremost, like Caitlin said, reach out to God. But if you don't even know how to do that, that's okay. Reach out to us. and we've mentioned, if you aren't familiar with the Bible or much with God or praying or anything, we've mentioned, we have one of them that we talked about. You don't have to pray in a specific way. There don't have to be specific words. You can be angry at God. You can be upset with God. You can, I'll let or either one of you talk about, this.
I think I don't know necessarily how to say it, but it's a time to, well, we have a shirt and we actually have a wall sign now too that you can get, it says always consult God. And I feel like now is a time, like Mom said, whether you've ever talked to God in your life or not, it doesn't have to be a specific way. You don't have to pray a specific way. You don't have to have any specific environment around you. You need to be able to quiet yourself. So you need to be able to do that, but just connect with God. That's what the nation and the world needs right now, is just people taking the time to, as we're saying, turn off the noise, and just, yeah, I mean, like you said, that's what we can do. And it might not seem like much because you're like, well, how is that going to change anything? But in reality, it's going to. That's what we've needed for a very, very long time. We'll still need it every day. But I think it's a matter of then looking around you and what you do have, the people that you do have, that you can still make a difference, that you're still make a difference. And I think that's what we all need to be able to do. And so, yeah. No, I don't have a whole lot of,
I'll go off of that. Like when we pause and we pull ourselves away from those distractions, we create a space for us to just breathe, and to have some mental clarity. And this does go back to like our mental health. Stillness helps us to be able to process our thoughts and our emotions instead of being controlled by all these outside voices. Sometimes we just need to, all times we need to sit down and just connect with God and let him control our thoughts. Let his spirit speak to us instead of all these other voices on these devices. I think would be very, very important. Psalm 46:10 says to be still and know that I am God. He often speaks to us, not in a loud, flamboyant voice, but in a small whisper. And so I think that's important to remember. We can't hear him if we're surrounded by constant noise.
And that always consult God came from Joshua 9:14. There's James, there's Proverbs, there's Psalms, there's throughout the Bible you can hear, the message again. You don't have to, if you're not familiar with that, that's okay. But the idea is, as they both were saying, is to go to God first. And I'm going to invite you to understand that the scientists have actually proven, Greg Braden and these amazing teams have proven that in every cell, we have trillions of cells in our body. We cannot see the individual cells. God, they have proven through their codes, through their means and science, God is in every single cell of our body. You say, well, I don't know where to find God. You don't even have to go outside of yourself, but, or stand outside in Mother Nature. Go stand next to a tree, the wisdom of a tree. Go sit and just breathe. Caitlin said, just breathing. Just sit quietly. You can be in your room. You can be anywhere for that matter. And it's not, you don't have to be a special place. And maybe some connect with God more in special places. That's different. But just know that you are with God anywhere you are. And it's for me, it's God's in me and our living spirit and everything, but then God's all around me. You each are, everybody brings God around me everywhere we are. And a few simple things that you may think may not have an impact is cook a meal with your family. Sit down and eat it without technology. Clean up, turn on some music, sing, even if you had a good or bad voice, dance to it, and play a game. You may think that is the most ridiculous thing, but I'm telling you, honor it. Honor God, honor your mental and physical health, and honor your family.
Go for a
We
walk.
don't have to do. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say go for a walk. Last night we went for a walk as a family. And I was gonna say, because Caitlin mentioned Psalm 46:10, but throughout the Bible multiple times it's mentioned be still. And I think that's just the simplest way to, a very simple phrase, very easy to remember. You can write it down. Just to be still. It encompasses turning off the noise. It encompasses getting quiet. It encompasses connecting with God, but just to be still.
Well, and I think just we do writing sprints. Okay, we set timers for those. I think put down the phone for 30 minutes. Start the morning with prayer instead of scrolling. Go and talk to God on a quiet walk, or use like some uplifting music for, or listen to a podcast, something where you're learning instead of just absorbing everything. And so set boundaries for that social media use, not just social media, but just your phone in general, screens in general. Would encourage that.
Don't let any technology be in the bedroom when you're sleeping. But like Caitlin said, even setting a timer. How do you start out your day when you first awake? Thanking God, gratitude. We always get on our knees first thing in the morning. There's a disconnect. There's a change in us when we can get on our knees, or when we lie down. We can connect differently. Eat breakfast together as a family, open the Bible, or do some writing, open a journal, or at night, we've talked about, all three of us, of a gratitude journal. Write down 3 things you're grateful for the day. And then write down 3 things you're excited for the next day. So you're going to bed grateful and you're excited. And it could be that you just get to wake up and have breakfast. I mean, these things don't have to be these huge, amazing accomplishments or experiences or whatever. The little ones are what make the big. And it's compounded over time, and it being consistent. We have a saying that consistency is key. We have apparel with it on it. And being consistent. Try this for 7 days. Then make it 30 days or 12 days. I've done a lot of things with the number 12 so that it's not too overwhelming. Just do 12 or do 12 hours. Atomic Habits, James Cleary talks about 2 minutes to start building a habit. Now the kicker is, if you take silence, you're going to hear the truth. Because God speaks the loudest when we're the quietest. God speaks louder when we're not listening. I mean, it gets louder and louder. We've talked about that in one of our videos. But, if you don't want to take the silence, then you probably don't want to hear what you need to hear. It's the truth for all of us. It works the same way for all of us. God will speak to me in the middle of the night, like, you didn't listen during the day, so guess what? I'm always like, just listen during the day, Amy. Just listen during the day so you can get sleep. But it's a beautiful thing. Silence and turning off the noise. Trust us, it can be scary, it can be uncomfortable, it can feel weird, it can feel unusual. There's a lot of uncertainties, but where God guides, God guides, God provides.
Well, and I think we talk about this a lot more in our, I think it's the 2nd episode of our Unplug series, which you can go listen to. Caitlin will put the link here. But we talk about how, like, if you're out, let's just say you're in a line at, I don't know, I'm going to say Chick-fil-A. That's the first thing that came into mind. you're in a line at Chick-fil-A and the people around you are all on their phones, or sitting at the tables even, but we're just gonna go with in the line with you, and you're not. It feels uncomfortable because it's not. I don't want to say not normal. I mean, I guess that would be the right words for it, but it's not like it is. It's not normal. So when people see you're just kind of standing there and like observing or being aware of your surroundings or just kind of taking it all in, the silence can kind of be the same thing. And this might not be in a public space. I'm not saying that, but just it might feel uncomfortable at first because one, if it's something that you haven't done before, and two, because the truths do come to you, breakthroughs do come to you, so it can be uncomfortable, but it's going to be really good, even if like in the beginning it's hard, you know, so like it'll turn into something beyond what you could have imagined. But I feel like it kind of goes together with that, and like I said, you can go listen to that episode. I'm not going to go all the way into that discussion because we have talked through that, but I feel like it kind of ties in with that, is that you have to be willing to, as we say, we have to become aware of whatever we need to change, whatever we're not fully present with, whatever we're not prioritizing correctly, and then we also have to be willing to take the steps to change it too. We have to admit, we have to be aware, and then we have to be willing. And so I would just encourage you to understand that it's okay if it's not like oh, these shining ideas, you know, I sat in this moment of silence and everything just like made sense and everything. It's not that. It's a matter of that you're taking that time to connect with God. You're allowing God to speak to you. You're allowing him to guide you. And so another thing of like how we've said that you don't have to pray a certain way. You don't have to, you know, talk about a certain way. It's the answers don't have to come in a certain way. They'll come through that silence, but it might not look like someone else's or anything like that. And I think it's a matter of becoming almost surrendering to it. And that's what getting on your knees to pray does. You're surrendering. You're like, God, guide me through this. So I just encourage you to be like okay with those feelings, but don't necessarily stay there, or let it stop you in the future too. Because if it's uncomfortable, chances are like our first instinct is, oh, I don't want to do that again because it wasn't the most enjoyable thing. But it's going to become something that even you look forward to, you know. And so I just say be open to those feelings.
Well, and then to go off of that too, another, like, I guess a distraction besides, you know, the screens as far as noise goes is busyness, because I think sometimes we confuse busyness and being productive. It's okay, like, and this is something for me, like, I'm always, I don't want to say a busybody, but I like to be doing something. I always like to be doing something, which isn't always a bad thing, but sometimes I don't know when to stop. Sometimes I don't know when to rest. Sometimes I don't know when to just sit down and focus on, you know, even just my Bible. Sometimes my brain is squirrely. That's what I tell my husband. But, you know, it's okay to allow yourself to sit down, to let these things, and like Cleopatra was saying, it may not be some big, bright, shining light shining down on you telling you, this is what I want you to learn for today or whatever. But just knowing that you're doing that and taking a part in that and setting maybe those boundaries for yourself, you know, those healthy boundaries, I think is very, very important. And it's something that I've had to learn along the way. Sometimes it's okay just to sit down, it's okay to listen, and it's okay to just to read and to learn. That's not a bad thing. That is being productive, in my opinion.
I have a few things here. Cleopatra was talking about, we call it ABC, be aware and admit, and then we've got to look at our beliefs and behaviors that we've got to change, and then C is you got to do the change. It's repentance. It's changing, you know, our thoughts and our actions. what have I done? What's going on? How do I need to change? And then we do it. The next thing is Tony Robbins talks about state break. You can look it up. He has a lot of information. He talks about our emotions and our feelings. Our emotions are chemical messengers, all the hormones that go through our body. And our body gets programmed and it becomes the master, and our mind, also our brain. But here's the thing, there's a lot of emotions going on and feelings with people right now. The wisest thing is, accept you have them, find a very safe environment, safe people to talk about them, but do not act on them. Do not act on them until you've been in a safe environment to talk to somebody that is safe and wise, because we don't need to be acting even more foolish and doing more harm. You know, that's why we're saying, hey, just take some quiet time, turn off the noise, spend time with family. And Veronica Valley talks about the next right thing, and we've talked about it in other videos. As Klepach said, or Caitlin has said, it's not this big law. What is the next right thing right now? I can't think past my nose, my body. I have so many emotions and feelings going on. It's just ask God for the next right thing. We don't need to see the whole staircase. Just what's one small step I can take? A walk, breathing, journaling, quiet time, a shower, you know, sit outside, whatever it may be. You're talking about in line, standing in line somewhere or standing somewhere. Turn off the screen and just say hi to somebody you don't even know. At times that could be scary, depends who you're talking to, you know, in our world these days it seems like, but okay, just smile at people then. If you don't want to say anything, just give a smile. You know, it can go a long ways. We need more hugs in this world. We need more smiles. We need to, instead of being like this, we need to look up and look who's around. Strangers or not. Differences or not. Doesn't matter if we're on opposite side of the spectrums, you know.
Well, I think that kind of goes into just the awareness. I feel like we just lost awareness in daily life. You know, we're not even aware when we're out and about, let alone when we're home with our families or whoever it might be. And I think that that is something that we really need in this world, in this nation right now, is just awareness. And that really, it boils down to being present, but it just, we're so caught up, and I don't mean this in the same way as Mom was saying, wait for the next right thing, but we're so caught up in the next thing that might not be the next right thing. We're caught up in what's coming next, and looking forward to something is fine. I'm not putting that down. I think that's a great thing, but we're so caught up in what's happening next. What are we going to do next? Where are we going to go next? That we're not even aware or present in the moment. And I think that needs to change. I think everyone needs to become aware. Just because you need to be aware of your surroundings to start with, but also to, in my opinion, if you start becoming aware, you're going to start connecting with God. And so I think that's something that we just really need.
Well, we're so like self-consumed, and so that we're not aware of everyone else, or you know what everyone else might be going through, and so we're just going through the motions for ourselves, and we end up losing like the connection with human beings. We end up losing the present moment that God has given us. I think that's just to add on to what you're saying, and I totally agree. We're so self-consumed on just the very next, like I said, this isn't, or like Cleopatra said, this isn't meaning like what Amy was saying, but we're so consumed on just ourselves and what we're going to do that we forget about everyone else.
Well, and we talk about this in another video about dopamines, the false dopamines. You know, it's the addictions, the vices instead of virtues. And we won't go into this because we do talk about it in others. But the stimulation, it's false stimulation. We need constant stimulation, the constant right, or next thing, like you're talking about, not necessarily the next right thing, but the next thing. It's okay. You know, maybe we should just use the word bored. B-O-R-E-D. It's gotten such a negative connotation, and I would always tell the kids, because there'd be somebody that would always say, I'm bored to the kids, and I'm like, yeah, I'm bored. You know, our kids wouldn't say it, but I'm like, we're not bored. It's okay. But right now, I think we just need to use that word and say, it's okay to be bored. I mean, now if we're lazy and this and that, that's a whole nother topic, but just, you know, and the constant stimulation leads to depression and anxiety. Depressed about the past, anxious about the future. Our brain, our mind gets anxious, our heart and our body gets depressed about the past. So, you know, the only thing that's really present is our lungs in our body, our breathing is constant, our heart beating, but, and then our spirit in us. Those want to be in the now. And I admit it, it's tough. I'm not always an expert at this. I don't always do the grandest job. But what do you each have for a takeaway today? Just rewatch the video.
I would say, I would just invite you to turn it off, like, and start with, like I said earlier, maybe just a 30-minute turning it off, and notice the change and notice the difference in setting your distractions or your noise, whatever that is to you in your life, setting that aside and just focusing on God, or making a gratitude list, or reading your scriptures, or praying. And like we've said, it does not have to be an eloquent prayer. It's calling out to God. And so I would just encourage that. And I don't know, we have the unplug to plug in movement, and I think about that. Unplug from your distractions and plug into what matters most.
I would say my takeaway would be, it kind of goes with what Caitlin's saying, but to be still and actually take that reminder to heart, not just toss it around flippantly, but write it down, like I mentioned earlier. Put it in your room, put it next to your bathroom mirror, carry it around with you, you know, wherever you're going to see it, or just hold it in your mind too. And just be still. I think that would probably be my biggest reminder. And then after you've been still, be willing to do what God asks of you, even if it's scary, even if you don't understand how you're going to do it. But I would say be still and then be willing.
And I would encourage anyone that can gather your family, prepare a meal together. If you need to go grocery shopping together, prepare a meal together, sit down and eat it, clean up afterwards, and play a game. And, you know, we need more of that. And also everything that the ladies have said too. And I think we could dedicate this to the Charlie Kirk family and him and everyone that is hurting. I think we can all turn off the noise in dedication, and we don't have to go out there to help them. We can be right here and help them. So we are thankful for you. We appreciate you. No one or no family shall do life alone. So please do reach out. We are here. We have resources we can connect you with. You do matter, and everyone does matter. So until next time, take care.